What's up, YouTube? It's Anthonyfallin, Tone Setter Financial. I'm coming back with part two. I would have had part two posted today, but I have recorded the whole thing, but in two parts due to my mess up. That's why they only got but the first few minutes of it, 12 minutes or so, as you can see right here. But I'm picking up where they left off, and we got a lot. It's a lot more information that comes along with this that he's going to be dropping, and what I'm also hold on, let me retract my thoughts here. Um, this is some real good content that this guy is putting out, Doug Casey. But I'm not gonna hold back. I'm just not gonna hold y'all too long on this. But I just wanted to say something before I get started, um, just to kind of catch y'all up. So we're at the part where he's gonna break it down, layman terms, or as he would say, sixth grader, uh, so the general public population, so it's for the general person, to generalize it so that the average person can understand them. Excuse me, my words, man. I've Anyway, that doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there on what I'm saying, what I was about to say. But let me get to it. I've talked long enough. All right, here we go.
Well, let's start with the basic connection between gold and money. Once you understand that, this change at the BIS will make a lot more sense. Now, most people don't realize this, but from 1792 until Roosevelt first devalued the dollar in 1933, that's almost 140 years, the US dollar was just a name for 1/20th of an ounce of gold. I mean, gold literally was money. The average guy had gold coins in his pocket. Money all over the world was measured in terms of gold. Until 1933, that is.
What exactly happened in 33?
In April of that year, the Roosevelt administration forced all Americans to turn in their gold coins and bullion.
How did they pull that off?
The old-fashioned way. The government stole it. If you didn't comply, they would put you in prison for 10 years or force you to pay a huge $10,000 fine. It was a lot of money then, but in today's money, today's debased currency, that's $200,000.
So that's how gold went from being the center, the stable center of our financial world, to what you might call a sort of an outlaw currency?
Essentially, yes. For decades after 1933, governments around the world kept using gold to settle their accounts, but regular folks were forbidden from doing so. That is until 1974.
1974. What happened that year?
President Gerald Ford lifted the ban on gold, and for the first time in over 40 years, millions of Americans were again able to own it.
And just as you predicted, we mentioned this earlier, the price of gold took off after that, right? From $35 an ounce up to 120, then 594, then all the way up to $850. I mean, it really is incredible. And you can see right here on this graphic, for those of you at home, where the government basically legalized gold, and you can see where it started to take off. It soared 640% throughout the rest of the 1970s. And yet, that is nothing compared to what happened to the shares of mining companies. Because shortly after this law was passed, gold stocks went crazy, right? Agnico Eagle Mines soared 612%. Hecla Mining Company soared 1,054%. Eagle River Mines leapt 3,479%. And I know there were some, like Copper Lake Explorers, that jumped an incredible, this is true, 13,025%. That's enough to turn every $500 invested into $65,625. Now you're predicting, am I right, this is going to happen again? It will happen again.
Well, I'm not a fortune teller, so I don't make predictions. But the change in the BIS accounting methods for gold is the biggest straw in the wind that I've seen in recent years. And it's happening right now.
Okay, well that brings us back to my second question, because after gold was legalized in 1974, it soared, but gold stocks went up even more, correct? And today you say that this new rule change that has just passed could mean the same thing is going to happen again?
When gold was legalized for Americans, that was on December 31st, 1974, it was trading around $200 an ounce. There was too much temporary enthusiasm then, and by June of 1976, 18 months later, it sold all the way down to $103. Then it took off on a fantastic run from $103 to $850 in 1980. Now, in that 4-year period, gold stocks went wild. Most went up more than tenfold. Some went up 100-fold. Some even more. Gold stocks are very volatile. I believe it's going to happen again, however.
It is true. Universal gold mining is up 2,187% in 8 months. Cylinder exploration up 900% in 7 months. Quest Rare Minerals up 22,400% in 8 months. And there are more, as you can see right here on the screen. So this change that we've been talking about, is it a law? I mean, can you tell us a little bit more about this? Because I'm curious, why does it matter?
No, it's not a law. It's called Basel III. It's a major change in the way central banks value gold, and it's the first since 1974.
Okay, not to cut you off, Doug, but when I started digging around about this, I thought surely somebody out there's got to be covering this particular story. But why am I not, or I think most people watching, why are we not hearing about Basel III, as you put it?
Well, Chris, we're talking about a banking protocol written in legalese by a rather secretive bank in Switzerland. Do you think that's going to sell many newspapers? The general public cares more about keeping up with the Kardashians. And the mainstream press is more interested in vilifying Trump than economics and finance.
All right, fair enough. I see where you're going with that.
But I'm not surprised. This is a major change in the way the powers that be look at gold. The last time we saw a change in official policy this major was actually back in 1974.
Which is the one that, as we just said, was the one that legalized gold ownership again, right?
That's right. When it happened, the financial markets cared a lot, but it didn't mean anything to the average American. Few people realized what it meant. Only in hindsight did it become clear. I followed the trend back then, and in 1976, I started loading up on gold stocks. Then in 1978, when gold was still only about $200 an ounce, I wrote a book about the coming crisis and the coming gold boom.
That's right, and we mentioned this book earlier as well, Crisis Investing. This did go on to become a #1 New York Times bestseller, and many of the predictions that you made in that book I know seemed outrageous at the time, but hey, your record speaks for itself. If anyone had followed your advice that you laid out in that book, they could have tripled their money on small energy stocks within the space of just 1 year. And you also shared 40 stocks in this book that shot up an average of 600%. And I guess that explains how you wound up talking to people like Charlie Rose and David Letterman and Phil Donahue on their television shows. But I got to ask you now, again, what makes this new bank rule or protocol such a big deal? I mean, gold is already legal. So why should this be such a big change to the financial system?
The reason is this change at the BIS alters the way that central banks account for gold. Instead of seeing it as a speculation, it's now considered a liquid asset. In other words, instead of having it on their books at $42.22 an ounce, which is the current official price, or some other arbitrary number, they can mark its value to the market. At the moment, that's about $1,500 an ounce.
Since this new gold rule passed, central banks, from the Bank of China to Russia's central bank to the Bank of Poland, have been accumulating gold at a blistering pace. The floodgates have seemingly opened, thanks to the new gold rule change passed this year. So I asked Doug Casey to shed some light on it. So how exactly does this rule change work?
We haven't seen anything like this in decades. I won't go into the full details here. They're rather complex. But there are two things that you do need to know. One, this gold rule has been passed by a powerful institution. The Bank of International Settlements, the BIS for short, it's basically a clearinghouse for central banks, including the Federal Reserve. I suspect they changed their accounting for gold because most of the world's central banks, like most of the world's governments, are actually bankrupt. Whatever the BIS does has an immediate impact on the global gold market because it reflects the needs of its members. It's a secretive organization like the central banks it deals with.
And we're going to put up a graphic here. This is a photograph. This is what the BIS actually looks like, at least its edifice here for those of you watching at home. You will notice there's no signage on this building front. It's nondescript, completely unmarked. You ever been inside?
No. What would be the point? It's for central bankers only.
So that's how powerful this group is. Can you tell us a little more about how this new rule they agreed on works?
Until recently, if a central bank wanted to hold gold, they were free to do so, but they were penalized.
There was a penalty for holding gold.
Well, the explanation is a bit technical, but the previous rule treated gold as a Tier 3 asset, which is a fancy way of saying a risky asset, not as safe as cash or bonds of a credit-worthy nation. But now, thanks to this new rule, banks can treat gold as a Tier 1 asset, basically the same as cash.
Ding.
So what you're saying is essentially the BIS has admitted for the first time in decades that gold is a currency, and they're legally treating it that way.
Ding.
Let's forget about trying to parse the BIS press releases for a minute. Here's what's actually going on. Since the Bretton Woods Agreement after World War II, all the world's governments agreed to use the US dollar as the equivalent of gold. Since Nixon devalued the dollar in 1971, it's become a floating abstraction, however. But all the world's commodities, most importantly oil, are priced in dollars. Even when Russia and China trade with each other, they generally have to use dollars clearing through New York. Why? Because they don't trust each other's paper, rubles and yuan. Do you think the Malaysians and the Argentines, for instance, will accept each other's ringgits and pesos? Of course not. Everybody uses dollars, even though they know that both the U.S. government and the Fed are bankrupt. But even though they are, the U.S. dollar is still the best-looking horse on the way to the glue factory. The Russians and Chinese, in particular, don't want to use dollars. It's the paper currency of their adversary, or perhaps even their enemy at this point. But they don't trust each other's currencies either. That's why they've both been big gold buyers, getting rid of US dollars for gold. Others are following their lead for the same reasons. The change in the BIS rules reflects a change in the world's financial realities.
And that's why the big central banks are piling it up faster than almost any time in history.
That's correct. Remember, these banks are rivals. They don't trust each other, and they're quickly losing faith in the other guy's paper money, as well as losing faith in their own paper money. That's why they're all starting to bring back their gold from overseas.
And now for the first time in decades, literally, they're allowed to treat gold as a currency, not a speculation. So they are piling into it one right after the other. And I suppose that's why we're seeing the price of gold soar, because of this new rule, essentially.
Gold has only moved from about 1,100 at its last bottom in 2015 to about 1,500 today. The new bull market is just getting started. We're seeing the same thing that happened in the mid-'70s after Gerald Ford made owning gold legal again for Americans. There was a rush into gold in the bad economic times of the 70s that only ended in the 1980s. I think it's going to be much, much more serious this time around. But now the BIS is acknowledging it's actually money. It's against their economic beliefs, but they have to bow to reality. What they've done, essentially, is plant the seeds of a new gold standard. Their new protocol will have a huge impact. It's one more reason I expect to see gold soaring in the months to come. Of course, I can't say how high it's going to go, and I can't give you a specific date it will reach $5,000 or $10,000 an ounce. It's bound to be a bumpy ride along the way.
So, can I press you a little on that? How high could it go? I mean, if we see a true mania like the one you're predicting.
Some people are making predictions of $5,000, even $10,000 an ounce.
You just said it, yeah.
It's impossible to know exactly how high gold is going to go. There's really no limit. It's only a question of how many dollars they create. But I'd say $5,000 this cycle is conservative. But I think you'll be surprised when you see what's possible.
Do you think gold could soar as high as Bitcoin did?
Gold and Bitcoin are both good alternatives to paper money. But to answer your question, Chris, just consider. According to the Federal Reserve, there are about 1.7 trillion paper dollar bills, mostly $100 bills, out there in circulation. Nobody knows, but there are well over $10 trillion outside the U.S. owned by foreigners. Unlike Americans, they don't have to hold dollars. What used to be called M3, the basic broad money supply, is about 14.8 trillion. In August of 2019, the government's official debt was 22.4 trillion.
At 23
and
now.
It's adding more than $1 trillion per year. The government says they have about 258 million ounces of gold on deposit, mostly at Fort Knox, where America's gold is stored.
You've lost me. It's gone. You're over my head here.
Well, lots of numbers. But don't worry, let's do some arithmetic. For gold to cover just the paper currency we printed, the 1.7 trillion, it would have to be redeemed at $6,500 an ounce. And that doesn't even include all the government's liabilities. If you include everything, the paper currency units plus the government debt, gold would have to go to about $145,000 an ounce.
So from less than $2,000 an ounce today to nearly $145,000. Now I understand why you're so excited about this.
Okay, real quick, I just want to interject on this. Um, did y'all catch that? Once they reevaluate the price of gold because of the circulation of money that is out there, along with the debt, and so you see, he's talking about the debt and the trillions of dollars that is out there, inland and foreign. Of foreigners, along with the national debt that is at $23 trillion as we currently speak. And then we're not even talking about the derivatives market and what other debts that the United States government has. Now, he's kind of speculating once the gold is revalued, that's how high it could possibly get, up to $100,000 per ounce. And he's saying at the very minimal, $5,000 to $6,500 per ounce. And then he talks about how Bitcoin and gold is an alternative solution for as currency. Okay, it would be a good alternative solution. Now I'm interjecting Carrot Bars. Carrot Bars has cryptocurrency just like Bitcoin, and they're backing it by gold, physical gold. So what are we saying here? So what am I saying here? That we have merged the two together. That as an alternative solution for currency. So come on, people. So what are we waiting on? Okay. But anyway, I'm gonna finish and let this man speak. Okay, because that right there. If I didn't interject on that, I think it might go over your heads, and still, I think it might go over some of y'all heads. But I tend to think that people are far more intelligent than that. Get what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You get it. I know that because this is for intelligent people. Period. That's why I'm doing this.
Well, before you get too carried away, I'm not saying that such a move is likely. It simply shows what would be possible if gold truly backed our currency the way it once did.
Okay.
But I do expect a panic into gold as the shaky
Rewind it
financial
if you have
system
to.
that we have today becomes unglued in the months to come. It's going to be much worse, much different, and much longer lasting than what we went through from 2008 to 2009.
So all of a sudden, the idea of gold moving to $10,000 an ounce, when you put it that way, doesn't really seem all that outlandish. But are you predicting that there's going to be some sort of hyperinflation? Because I got to say, it doesn't really seem possible in my experience that the paper dollar could just disappear or lose all of its value overnight. Not to pick on anybody, but we're not Zimbabwe or Venezuela, after all.
No, but we're looking more and more like Argentina anyway. Einstein once said that after hydrogen, stupidity is the most common thing in the universe. But it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when this crisis overtakes the U.S. Let's play a little game.
Okay.
Name a single paper currency that's held its value over the long haul. And I'll give you an ounce of gold.
The U.S.
None.
Well, let's look at that for a moment. Does it cost more or less to buy a house today, to buy anything, a sandwich, a newspaper, a car?
Well, yeah, but prices have gone up.
No, you're making that.
Okay. Before he gets into that part, I just wanted, when he just played this game and he said he'll give him an ounce of gold. There has been no currency in history that has lasted. I mean, we can go back to Kubla Khan, and we can go back to China banning the paper dollar for 100 years. We can go to the continental dollar that I think that was during the fact check me, but I think it was called the Continental Dollar before it became the U.S. Federal Reserve, whatever. The Continental Dollar went into hyperinflation. That's what brought on, I mean, during the Great Depression back in 1929. So there's no dollar that has withstood the test of time. All of it went to zero at some point in time in history. Okay, what? Let me shut up and let you get back to it. And let me, yeah.
Same mistake, I'm afraid. Remember, prices aren't going up. In reality, it's the dollar's value that's going down. It's already lost about 97% of its value by the government's own figures since the Fed, our central bank, was created in 1913. And things are just now starting to get really serious.
Okay, so the dollar is out. Obviously. How about what about the British pound?
Well, the pound's been around much longer than the dollar, close to 1,300 years actually. But it's been a terrible store of value. Do you know how the pound got its name?
No, but I've got a feeling you do.
Well, 1 British pound was originally 1 pound of sterling silver.
Oh, the British pound sterling. Got it.
Yeah. Then in the 19th century, it was redefined as 0.23 ounces of gold. At today's silver prices, an original British pound of sterling silver, would be worth around $278. At today's gold prices, it would be worth about $350. But instead, a single British pound today is only worth $1.23, barely enough to buy a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola. In other words, the US dollar and the British pound, which incidentally have been the best currencies in the world, have been total disasters. Most currencies have gone to zero over and over again. That's why so many financially sophisticated people now are stacking up millions of ounces of gold by the truckload, actually.
Yeah, Doug, but come on, is it that easy? I mean, just follow their lead, buy gold, and get rich?
Well, you could do a lot worse. If you simply bought gold 20 years ago and held on, you'd have made nearly 5 times more than you would have if you put that money into the S&P 500. And that's why I own quite a bit of gold, and I buy more every month. I've been buying gold my entire life, and I've never sold a single ounce. It's a much, much better and more private way to save than a bank account. But I'll tell you this, the biggest gains you're going to see won't come from coins or bullion. It's a totally different niche of the gold market. where I've invested most of my speculative capital. We're now at one of those times in the gold market, say about once in a decade, when it makes sense to be all in.
So let me see if I can recap what you've told us so far. Number one, central banks around the world are all buying gold at a pace that we really haven't seen in a number of decades. And it's largely thanks to this new gold rule that's been passed by the BIS. That has been what's triggered a gold buying panic among banks. And the price of gold is soaring. And as you've just said, history does seem to be repeating itself here. It does seem eerily reminiscent of the 1970s, as you pointed out when you made your very first fortune. But now you've mentioned you're putting your money into a small niche of the gold market. So my next question is, are we talking about mining companies?
We are indeed.
Okay. But, Doug, today there are hundreds, if not thousands.
Okay, I'm gonna let this play for a few more minutes because he's gonna get
Well,
into,
this may come as a surprise to you and most people.
like I said, I'm gonna let this play for a few more minutes because he's gonna get into how he does it. He looks for penny stocks on mining companies and catch them at a very low price and wait for them to boom and then he sells after that and then just waits for the next opportunity just like it. But he does still drop some more information in here. And I'll just let it play for a little bit. But after this it gets into something totally different. I just wanted him to drop the knowledge of the overall basis of the money system and how gold is going to play a very, very major role going forward. And then I'm going to interject on some, after this I stop playing this, I'm going to talk about something else that also helps support what we're talking about. All right, hold on.
People. But about 80% of these so-called mining companies are actually garbage. The only gold they'll ever have is in their promotional material.
Okay, so how do you tell the difference between the ones that might go down or barely tread water or go up maybe 20% versus the good ones, the ones that could soar 500, 1,000% or more?
Well, over the years, I've developed an approach. It's been very good to me and the people who followed my research.
Doug, understandably, prefers not to discuss his private financial dealings on camera, but we did go through his track record with a fine-tooth comb, and we found a string of astonishing recommendations, all tied to his unique approach, which some people call the Casey method. Its success has caused a stir, and it's been covered in Forbes, People, Us Weekly, The Washington Post, the New York Times Sunday Magazine, NBC, and CNN. Some of the results we've seen are incredible, like a 4,329% gain on Altius Minerals, which his team told thousands of people to buy in August 2001. That is 44x your money. Doug's team found a 711% gain on Northland, a 487% gain on Wolfton Resources, and an impressive string of triple-digit winners, including 154% on Alberta Star, 390% on OX, 233% on Golden Queen, 258 on London Mining, 260 on Osisko Mining Corporation, 514% on Fortuna Silver Mines, 176% on Iron Gold, 158% on Virginia Gold, 434% on Gammon, 681% on Glamis Gold. The list goes on and on. In short, he seems to have perfected a method that's earned him a following of tens of thousands of people around the world. So, Doug, you just mentioned, quote unquote, your approach to investing. Can you explain a little bit about how that works?
Well, once again, can't go into a lot of detail in a brief interview. Depends on how many hours you want to spend on geology, mineral chemistry, mining engineering, geopolitics, and lots of minutiae. But the big takeaway is that mining is a very, very volatile industry. For years, I've looked for ways to make volatility my friend, however. And volatility is something that most investors are terrified of. So I've developed a different approach that I've used for many years. Most people.
Okay, I'm gonna end it right there. Um, like I said, it kind of gets into what he does. You can always look him up. I have some information on some free stocks, some free shares. I'm gonna look those up because not free shares, some free stock. I got some free stock symbols out of this. Like I said, you have to be a member of this publishing company, to get this information. Um, you're not gonna get this video nowhere else unless there's another member doing this that's in the same arena with this, or has a membership with this company. Um, these are one of the rare interviews that you're going to get. There's plenty more. But what I'm saying though overall is that he's talking to you. And this has been a common trend amongst those that have made it very wealthy, has been very successful, that is in the know with all of these corporations and hedge fund venture capitalists, and just people, that politicians and stuff like that, and now they're all being philanthropists by giving you the information at the very least. And just like this one, what will happen if I was to go further in, I will have to, like some of the other ones that I put my money up for, in knowing these secrets and stocks and stock symbols and stuff like that. You're gonna have to come up with the price, and they'll try to reduce it down to like 2,000. Between 2 to 5,000 to get the information. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Just so you can have an upper edge on the. I'm not gonna get into detail with all of that. Stuff like that. So it's still, for the average person, if you don't have that type of money, it's still costly. You know what I'm saying? But once again, I am not a CPA or financial advisor. This is just, I'm doing what my publishing company doing. I'm like taking a sociological approach, by displaying the information. I'm just showing you the information. I'm not telling you what to do with your money, your paper money. I'm not advising you to do, this is what you should do with your paper money, because you could do what the hell you want with it, for one thing. I'm just saying to you, this is what I'm doing, and I'm exchanging my paper money for currency grade gold. Like he said, it's a tier 1 asset. And that Karatbars International is providing an avenue for us to exchange our paper currency for real money, which is gold. You can't buy money. You can only exchange it. Okay? Let's get that straight. You cannot buy money. You exchange it. So I'm exchanging my paper dollars for currency grade gold. Okay? Is that clear? So that's what Karatbars International, overall, that has been the basis of it since Dr. Harold Seiss started the company back in 2011. Now, as far as the cryptocurrency, it's only been active for a year. And with the technology and everything else, the exchange, the mainnet, all of these other assets are backing the coin along with the gold. So what are we talking about here? Okay? What are we talking about here is that this coin that I'm talking about right now, that you can actually get for free in one of these profit or business packages, for free, very cheap, very low. I ain't gonna say cheap, very low, because once gold becomes a once it starts to spike, like that's the name of this. This is why he's doing this interview, because he's trying to tell you that in the near future, you see 2020. I ain't saying it's going to be 2020. He's not saying it's going to be 2020, but it's just like the first video I made would let the expert tell you that 2020 and beyond, gold is about to be a major player because of the lack of trust in the dollar bills by governments, by all of these different nations and the governments. Because and I'm saying to you guys, because last night I was in on at an event online, sitting in listening to Tika Taware, cryptocurrency expert, and he was talking about this new technology. See, everything's about technology and how this technology collects data on the stock exchange. It's called quant, that something like that. It's called the quant. And this is not the first time I've seen this technology, because it's all from the same publishing company. It's just that it's different guys doing different interviews. You know what I'm saying? But I heard something similar about this, and it could go back in history, study the history to predict what stock and what the stock market is going to do in its future. Not that it's 100% accurate, it is, but it has a track record of being 80% right. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I'm saying this is because they talked about gold and said gold is gonna go up. Gold is going, talking about going into next year now. Gold is going to go up a little bit. It's going to come down, and then it's going to go up. It's going to go up. That's what, and I think he's not foretelling everything. I mean, because you got to understand, these guys are they know. You know what I'm saying? If they're not they trust me, they're at least plugged in, and they know. They know what's going on, because all of these guys are into finances and stuff like that. They're on the high end of the financial market business and how the money system runs. So even if they're not in, their buddies are in, and they get little tidbits of information here and there. So but like I said, I was sitting in with Tika Taware, and if you don't know him, you need to look him up, the cryptocurrency expert. That's how he made his money. That was his career, but also he was a hedge fund. He worked for a hedge fund firm and all that stuff, making rich people richer. And his whole thing is to bring it back to the people, the everyday people, and make them wealthy. Help them build up their net worth, like I was talking about. So this is like Carrot Bars is an opportunity to build your net worth by exchanging your paper money for gold, for currency grade gold, and just hold it as an asset. It's a tier 1 asset. But if you want to build a business and get passive residual income to further build your net worth, you can do that as well. You see, I'm already here. I'm already in. I'm already doing this. And I am telling you, I don't have to at all. I need y'all to understand that. I really don't have to say excuse me, I don't have to say nothing. I could just sit back and just do what I do. Get coins, exchange gold, exchange for gold. I'm trying to help you. As the proof is in the pudding. This is what he's saying. I'm not saying take your life savings. I'm not saying to take your last dime. Is whatever you can afford, wherever you can come in at, just come in. Because the free the gold savings account with Carrot Bars International, like I just said, it's free. And you can get 1/10 of a gram at a time for like $5 to $6. If you need to start there, you can just start saving gold that way. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying, come on, people. I mean, the lack of knowledge. Not even the lack of knowledge, because I'm giving you the knowledge as best as I know how. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting here trying to be a smart ass and like I know something that y'all don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I'm putting it out there so that I make sure that you know. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is this: when you can sit there and say you don't know, you can't be held accountable. Um, or you just totally ignore that someone is trying to put the information out there for you to know. That's where the problem lies. And then you be sitting back wondering, why didn't I listen? Why didn't this information come around to me? And it did. You just chose to ignore it. Don't be ignorant. Because people are trying to get this information out here to you. Like myself. But anyway, as I always say, there will be my link for Karatbars International at the bottom, my email for you to contact me so we can get you started. So I can plug you in. I can train you. I can train you. We can build this together. That's what it's all about, coming together. And for this common cause is to build our net worth, save in gold. And if you want to build a business, we can start passive residual income. Because it's time for us to live our better life. We need to get out of this situation. Because if we don't, during this transfer of wealth right now, we start now. I'm not saying it's like right now. It's so imminent, you know what I'm saying? But I am in position right now. So when it does come, I will already be in. I'll be thriving even more. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm in position, and many others that are like us. Okay, so stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned because there's a lot more information to come. There's some more. There's some more things I'm about to do. I'm gonna start reaching out to y'all even more, where I can make y'all feel more relaxed. We're gonna do some Zoom webinars. We're gonna have some guest speakers on, and everything, talking about Karatbars International and mindset. You know, so stay tuned for this, and I need y'all to plug in to get to know, at least start exchanging your paper money for currency grade gold, because you can just be a customer with Karatbars. You don't have to do what I'm doing as far as building an organization for to grow my passive residual income. You can just exchange it for gold. Simple as that. Okay? Am I clear? All right, y'all. This is a good interview. A lot of information. Like I said, watch part 1. Listening to part 2. Take some notes. When he talked about Bosco and the BSI, you know what I'm saying. That was something totally new, especially that Bosco. I heard of BSI before, but they are hoarding gold tremendously. The central banks, like he said, countries. As a matter of fact, before I because I was gonna throw this in here, look up BRICS, BRICS. It is Brazil, Russia. It's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are planning to have to create a cryptocurrency backed by gold. And you see that? Do you see that? And see, we're taking the grunt of it because we're the front runners. So you're gonna hear the smear campaign. You're gonna hear a lot of stuff that's gonna cause people to stay away from Karatbars International. But then you get something like BRICS that's been on the table for a minute now, and now it's becoming more prevalent. and they have their cryptocurrency backed by gold. You know what I'm saying? It's only going to help Carrot Bars even more. It's going to make it even more real to the public eye. I'm just telling y'all, man. If you can't see the trend, you don't hear the trend is in the talk right now. The trend is in the talk, like you're getting this interview, and you got to pick up on this, okay? But anyway, this is Anthony Fallon, Tone Setter Financial, as I'm coming back with another powerful interview, dropping some jewels. Thank you, Doug Casey. Thank you. Yeah, it's being put out there, guys. Peace.